Hi g'day scrappers. Today I'm just scrapping out a few things and just chilling out today, having a nice easy day. And I did a couple of pickups yesterday, so nothing today, so I'm just going to scrap out. And first up, I'm actually doing this giant Hitachi 55-inch plasma TV. I picked this up a few weeks ago. I've been trying to get to it. Finally I've got it on the table and I've got to scrap it out. It's so heavy. The base plate alone was really heavy and really hard to maneuver in my little space here, so I've just got to get rid of it and bring down the weight as quick as, or as much as possible. So, and the best way to remove the as much weight as you can is obviously getting rid of the circuit boards, and at least we can get some value out of here before I send off the actual screen to get recycled. So normally I wouldn't pick up, obviously I don't pick up many flat screen TVs on the street or anything, but when I do business pickups, then I've got to pick them up. And so this was just one oddball one, but yesterday I actually did a pickup from a company and they had 12 LCD monitors, televisions, like they're huge TVs but they're actually monitors. So I've got 12 in the driveway I've got to scrap out as well to get rid of it. But today's a good day to do all this. So yeah. As you can see, these plasma TVs are really worthwhile if you can pick them up. They're so heavy, but you got very heavy power boards here and all kinds of boards, some low grade stuff, and we're probably going to have most of the better boards under this panel here. So I thought through the week I'll try and do some scrapping videos as I go, just to break up the street scrap videos. And so nothing too dramatic. It's basically I haven't picked out anything specific to scrap out. I'm just going to scrap random items today and might just go through quickly on video what I'm actually doing. So with these plasmas, yeah, as I said, it's just about removing some of the weight so I can send it off to get recycled, but trying to get all the circuit boards that I can off. And yeah, it's not like high value, but depends what you do with the screen. If you can go to your scrapyard and sell it as scrap steel, then you'll get quite a bit of value from the actual steel, because they are very heavy. It's just a mid-grade board. Yeah, so when I'm picking up eWaste from businesses, mostly it's IT equipment, but like this particular thing and the stuff that I picked up yesterday, all the LCD screens, sometimes you've just got to get the good with the bad, and then I've just got to spend time with pretty low value stuff. So, but that's how it goes, you can't all get, it's not all high value. But I just as you know, I'm trying to make up as much room as I can, and so I'm just happy to get these out the way and forget about them and still get a bit of value. Not much of a board here, but just a mid-grade. I don't know why they made, it's actually quite a good one. Sort of a bit of a higher grade than mid. Yeah, I don't know why they made these plasma TVs so heavy. Surely they could have used a little bit more aluminium or something. So that's actually a nice board. We've got a really, you know, class 2 BGA chip here. Yeah, quite a good board. Here we got just a bit of a mid-grade board, just because it's got all this junk, you know. It's close to a power board, but it's a mid-grade board. So a bit better value for me. Yeah, nothing special. Some quite low value stuff here, so it's a bit either way, whether it's a mid-grade or a low grade, but might be able to get away with it being a mid-grade. Yeah, there's quite a lot of wire wrapped around, so that adds up as well, you know. It all adds up, as I say. That's just low grade, almost not even worth taking it off, but hey, we've got some good steel. Less weight. So I thought I won't sort of go through the whole video. I'll just skip through as much as I can so it doesn't go on too long on one item, because I'm not particularly focusing on any one item, but yeah, so just a mid-grade. I do have some interesting things to scrap out, you know, reasonably interesting. I've got a PBX system, so like a telephone system, that I'll scrap out after this. Might do a PC or two, a couple of the older ones that I'm just scrapping out, and yeah, we'll just play it by ear. It's more of a down day for me, just not trying to go too hard. So there's just a power board, and nothing spectacular there. You know, some people like to take off transformers, just depending on your time, but for me, I just prefer to just clean up some wires, send that in as power board. Okay, well, so in this case, because it's such a heavy TV, I would normally leave this plate on here, but because we're trying to make it as light as possible so it's not so heavy to carry it around, you know, because heavy stuff. It's all wear and tear, you know, so, you know, that weighs, you know, over 1 kilo, so that's 1 kilo we remove off. Just makes that little bit better, lighter. Just check these little risers here that look like brass. They're not always brass. Yeah, so in this case, these little bits here are brass, so we might as well take them off. Reduces more weight, and we get some value. I like my brass. It adds up really quick if you are cutting off prongs off cables and stuff like that. Brass adds up quick. See, there you go. All adds up. Moving these brackets will certainly take off some weight. Couple kilos there. It's getting better. Oh, here's another nice little board under here. Little bonus. That's a good one. It's just a mid-grade, but we've got a couple of okay chips. Looks like might be a kind of a T-con board. So that's not a bad board. Your low grade ribbon wire, and for some that want to bother, you got your little flashed gold ends there you can take off to add to a little pile. Depends how far you want to go. Yeah. So, you know, scrapping stuff out, I mean, it's just time. That's the only thing. A lot of it is so easy. It's pretty straightforward. Anyone can kind of scrap stuff out. It's just a matter of undoing screws, really. So what I'll do is I'll just continue on here. Just another power board. Not a lot there. Sometimes you might be able to get away with this as a mid-grade board, simply because there isn't a lot of heavy transformers, mostly aluminium capacitors. There's some IC chips here, so you only got these 3 little transformers here. Not a lot, you know, so it just depends on your board buyer. If you threw this in mid-grade, you might get away with it. Otherwise they'll just throw it into a low grade power board kind of deal. Might have some gold pins there. So got some nice little gold pins there. You know, you might want to, even if you're trying to get mid-grade for it, you might want to remove this plastic. Depends on the board buyer. To me it doesn't make any difference, but you know, you expose a bit of this gold and it just might make it look a little bit better. Yeah, we've got the sides, got the ribbon wire here. That will usually be some nice gold plating sometimes. Do that Now this doesn't go as like gold fingers or anything, but you can put this in with ribbon wire. It's probably a better value gold than just flashed. It's kind of like in between flash or plating or a heavier flashing, so it's a better quality than what you've seen on the white ribbon wire. All adds up. So yeah, that's quite a heavy piece of steel. Awesome. That's just a low grade board. Again, you know, got a little bit of gold flashing on that. And yeah, so I'll just continue on here and clear this off. You know, you've probably all seen a plasma television be scrapped out. So yeah, I want to get through the videos or the stuff that I'm scrapping out as quick as possible. So I just want to do this really fast and go on to the next thing, to at least get a few things out the way before the end of the day. I've already been to the scrapyard, dropped off 800 kilos of scrap steel, so a lot of scrap steel. It's just made up a lot of room for me, so that's been good. And now it's just time to more brass, to get rid of some of these big clumsy things out of my way, so I can focus more on some interesting stuff and have a bit of fun. Yeah, so let me just clear this up and I'll get back to you at the end of it. Okay, so I've finally finished this. Didn't actually take too long, but so this is all the boards that I've got, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of circuit boards and stuff. All right, it's not really high value boards, but you know, it does add up. And you know, if you can, these plasmas are becoming more common. People are throwing out plasmas now because, you know, they're going for the LEDs and stuff. So you're going to see these plasma TVs over the next couple of years quite regularly. And you know, like I said, if your scrapyard accepts the actual screen and the steel backing as scrap steel, then you're going to do even better. But you might have to send it to the recycling. The back panel was steel, so at least that's a bit of scrap steel as well. So it just depends on your scrapyard. But if you're accumulating boards to send to a board buyer, you know, it's, you know, you've got to get your boards from somewhere. And you know, these power boards, like, you know, they're pretty heavy boards, and like I said, these ones might go as mid-grade boards. It just depends on your buyer. For me, I'd only buy this as a power board, definitely a power board. These can go in as mid-grade boards. You know, you got little IC chips. You know, it doesn't look too bad, so you can probably get away with mid-grade board here. Some of these, like these ones here, might only be low-grade board because there's really nothing on them. They're just blank boards with some gold pins and stuff inside there. Some people might choose to just take off the gold pins. You know, close to a mid-grade board here, again, quite a bit of junk here, but you might be able to get away with that as well as these ones. So there's quite a bit of weight there. You know, you've got a higher grade board here with a beautiful BGA chip. You know, it's up to you. You might want to just take off the BGA chip and maybe some of these memory chips, and then still get, you know, your mid-grade peripheral board. Just another mid-grade board, take it out of the steel. Again, a reasonably good board, so it's a little bit higher than mid-grade board. Just depends what you want to do. You might want to take off these memory chips and the BGA, the flat pack here, and then sell it as a mid-grade. It's up to you. Another mid-grade. These ones here, these can also go as mid-grade. They got nice little chips here, which are got a little bit of silicon sealing over them. So, you know, it's mostly mid-grade, low-grade. One, you know, higher grade. some, you know, very low grade. Got quite a lot of ribbon wire with the gold pin, the gold fingers on the ends there. You know, some are higher. See, like these ones here, you can see the difference in the colouring of the gold. These ones here it's a much better. It's like a gold plating, whereas these ones are more of a flashing. So these ones are actually higher value than these ones, you know. But if you put it all together, you know, some people like to sell your ribbon wire just as a, you know, fill up a box and sell it on eBay, or some people go for the gold recovery. But yeah, really good. Obviously I took off a lot of pieces of steel, some you know, some good heavy pieces, so I got rid of a lot of the weight, so it's going to be a lot easier now to handle it. Also got some wire I need to clean up, some low grade, some mid grade. You know, really, if circuit boards, I mean, that's about 6 or 7 pounds, you know, nearly 3 kilos. So, you know, you've got some really good value in boards here. So plasma TVs are quite worth doing. They're much better than a LCD TV. You get less than $1 worth of value from an LCD, but plasma TVs, I reckon they're really the ants pants as far as getting circuit board value. And if you, like I said, if you can get rid of the actual screen, some scrap metal yards say, yep, we accept them, no problem. Fine, you get good money for that, because it's still going to weigh quite heavy. It just depends on your scrapyard though. So let's move on to the next thing. I might do the PBX system next, just to get that out the way, and we'll continue having a bit of fun. Alright, so the next thing I'm scrapping out today is the LG Aria 130. It's a PABX or a PBX system, basically to connect about 100 telephones up. And so it comes with a nice wad of wire anyway. Can't remember where I picked it up from. I got it from just a business pickup. It's got this whole thing here. Just got to cut off all the wires and all that sort of stuff and get into all that. This is just basically no real value to me, but the wire is good. It's got lots of wads. And yeah, so it's the PBX. Let's see what's in this. It's probably mostly just scrap steel anyway. Alright, well, it looks pretty intense. Nice. Got 7 cards in here. Looks like a power supply unit, and that's about it. So very straightforward. You know, it's probably you know, probably cost $1,000 or something to buy, but well, just got to get rid of it. And we've got some nice gold pins in these slots here as well as there, so get rid of all this wire and we're halfway there. Alright, oh, that's easy. Okay, so yeah, we've got 7 slot cards in here, and then just the riser card or a backplane board at the bottom here. Yeah, okay, so pretty basic really, not anything really special, this one. Obviously always got to remove the batteries when you're selling, so that can go. Yeah, but yeah, not a great deal. It's just a mid-grade board, you know, or peripheral board if you like. A couple of things I might take off, like the little crystal oscillator there, the gold band one. They're always good. Maybe a couple of chips, but there's, yeah, not a whole lot. Doesn't have, you know, slots. It's just got the, you know, your pins here. So these ones here are not really worth going for gold recovery. But yeah, that's one. Wonder if they get better. Right? Oh well, this one's a slot card at least. So technically we could probably get away with this as a slot card. It's got really good quality gold fingers there, just simply because of the nature of what it is, a PBX system. It's got to be good heavy gold plating when they slide them in and out so it doesn't wear out. So yeah, good fingers, but if you took off the fingers, you know, it's a bit of weight, but it's just going to be a mid-grade board. It's just one of those half and half which way to go. You know, some people would prefer to just send this as a slot card and be done with it. That way you're getting good value as a slot card. So that's a good one. This one looks like the same thing. Yep. Okay, so this one here is even more. So it's hard to say whether you get slot card for this kind of thing, because it's got a lot more of these, you know, twice as many transformers and these things, whereas this one's only got half as many. So yeah, again, if you can get away with slot card, this one's definitely worth selling as a slot card. So that was all right. There's another one here. Once again, we've got a battery that we've got to always remove. So I like to take off the battery straight away so there's no mistake and I don't leave them on. Here again, we've got a little crystal oscillator we can take. Again, this is probably worth sending as a slot card because, as you can see, it's very blank. So you're not getting much value for gold recovery here. You're going to get more value selling it as a slot card. Even leaving this on, you know, we've taken off the battery, and we can take a little crystal oscillator, and the rest we can send it as a slot card. So we still get good value out of it. But I love getting this kind of stuff because you can get high grade boards, but it's also very clean and very easy to scrap. It's not many screws. And you know, well, this one here, I don't think this would go as a slot card simply because there's too many transformers on there. We've got nice gold fingers. Again, this is a sort of a half and half. I'm not really sure. What I'd probably do is I'd take off these fingers because they are really nice gold plating there. Get good gold recovery, and also this port here, there's some really good quality gold pins in there, so they're a higher grade for a modern circuit board. Same deal here. This one might get away with a slot card. It's got a little transformers over this side. It does have good gold fingers again, so, and this port, so yeah, not bad at all. And once again, the same deal here, so not bad. So very little on the actual board, you know, it's basically just circuitry, you know, just you know, a few flat pack IC chips here. It's mostly transformers and aluminium capacitors. Interesting. And got the just got a mid-grade board here. Well, basically this is just it's really just a power board. Yeah, it's pretty much just a power board, this. Again, some might get away with throwing this in mid-grade. But generally, that's a power board. When I buy boards, I buy this as a power board. More cable. Like if I was scrapping this out without doing a video, it would just take a couple of minutes and bang, I'd go on to the next thing, you know. It's a riser board. I buy these as mid-grade boards or a backplane board. But in some countries, like in America, this would sell as a backplane board, so you'd get a bit more than a mid-grade or a peripheral. They do have some good gold pins in here, but these are spring-loaded, like a spring steel, so they're a different thing. They're pretty hard to recover the gold from. These ones are really good, and these ones in here, really nice gold plating in there. But these ones are a little bit more difficult. Always when you are taking off pins, always keep these spring-loaded pins separate to just your freestanding pins. And even these ones, always keep these separate to these. Simply because the metals are a little bit different. All right. And this looks like just a power board. And there we go. Got a true power board here. Some good weight on it. Some people like to depopulate these boards, take all the transformers off, the extruded aluminium heat sinks, and so on, or just sell it as a power board. Good weight. And that's the PABX. Very, very straightforward. At least the good thing is it's a nice empty cavity here, and I can throw in scrap steel, you know, even say like these speakers came from the plasma television that I just done, so I might try and squeeze one in there at least, fill it up with nuts and bolts, scrap steel, plug-ins, all that kind of thing. And we put the cover on, full of steel. It's going to be a nice heavy box, and we can take that to the scrap metal yard. Oh. So there we go. You've got the power board, we got a backplane board, we've got a variety of slot cards. It just depends on the type of buyer. Like this, I would never buy this as a slot card. It's just a power board. You could take off these gold fingers, still sell it as a power board. This one here will go as a slot card because it doesn't have the rubbish, you know, of all them transformers. This one here, half and half, depends on your buyer. We can get a slot card for that, maybe even for that one. And that's just a mid-grade board, no gold fingers, just pins. And another little power board, and just all this cable that I'll clean up and put into mid-grade insulated wire. So that'll keep me busy. Alright, I'll just finish off here, clean up this wire, put these boards away, and I might go on to the next thing. Alright, next thing I'm doing here is this really old, nice Compaq Despero. It's got the Pentium 2 inside. It's a nice semi-vintage PC. I've got a few much better specimens in my own collection, and so this one's a bit dirty and a bit straightforward, a bit plain, so I'm just going to scrap this one out and just get the circuit boards out, get rid of the case, there we go. We've got a big heatsink on the Pentium Pro. Sorry, the Pentium Pro, the Pentium 2. It'd be nice if it was a Pentium Pro. Well, we've got 3 slot cards, and this is one of the PCs that I just found in Hard Rubbish, so just a bonus PC. And yeah, as I said, it's not collectible enough for me. I got some pretty good versions of this Compaq, and but mostly I like my genuine IBM PCs, stuff like that. We've got some good old slot cards, so yeah, nothing spectacular, you know. Can try and sell these old ones, you know, a little bit hard to sell if you don't try and test out the PC first, but you know, generally not a lot will go wrong with them. There's another one here, looks like just a network card, and this looks like your video card, so just pretty average. But it's all got to be done, so why not take you along the journey with me with these ribbon wires. Sometimes, I mean, I've got hundreds of different sizes and vintage style, but if you go to sell, you can just sell this as low grade insulated copper wire. Some people like to take off the actual pins, and when some stick, it gives you a good indication of how good they are. Some are really poor for gold recovery. If you can barely see any gold, I don't even bother. I'll just take off one, and then I'll just leave the rest and you know, throw this in with insulated. But these ones are not bad. They're about half plated, and they're pretty good looking. You know, I can see some decent gold on there, so I'll take off all these pins, and even, you know, once they're stuck like that, you know, I just pull them off like that. You know, and so they're just a partially plated pin, but yeah, I can see some, you know, some decent gold, and because it's a reasonably vintage PC, the gold plating on there is reasonably okay too. So I'll keep all these aside, and I'll take off all these pins. The rest nothing. Power supply unit. Very basic, straightforward PCs, these ones. The motherboard's actually screwed down with Torx screws. And there we have it. So if you're into restoring vintage PCs, then even if you scrap these out, you can always keep the components for other PCs. So these ones are Siemens RAM. You don't see the Siemens one very often. So it's they look like 64 megabytes or something like that. Yeah, quite interesting. But just straightforward for gold recovery. Your average Pentium 2 motherboard. Let me just move this over to the side. There we go. Just your standard Pentium 2 motherboard. And here's our Pentium 2 CPU. Now you can keep the CPU like this if you are trying to collect them. You know, I've got my collection. I want to get right to the actual slot CPU. I've got a nice chunk of aluminium there. And if you're selling CPUs like this, slot CPUs, you've got to take off this plastic. However you do. If you're like me, you're a bit rough as guts. So here we've got some aluminium. Just take off these little metal bits. Got a nice piece of aluminium there as well. Just some plastic. And there's our Pentium 2 slot CPU. Beautiful. Beautiful gold fingers, good gold recovery. Got a little tantalum there. Flat pack. Good copper top BGA. These BGAs are actually quite good for gold recovery. Unlike the other copper tops where they've got the round top, these ones are actually quite surprisingly good yield for gold. And a couple more flat packs, some little MLCCs, and the really nice fingers. As you know, I like my PCs. I like to have a bit of fun with them. An old Fujitsu hard drive. Not sure what size it is. Can't really see upside down, but yeah. Looks like a 4.3 gigabytes. Not much at all, but it's a really nice condition hard drive. Sometimes these hard drives are worth just keeping because, you know, they'll have the old Windows software on there, and might even have some good old Windows games and stuff like that. So you might want to check it out. It's got a good board for gold recovery as well if you want to scrap it out. But yeah, sometimes they're worth putting it into your docking machine and sort of taking off the software off them, or even using it as a replacement for another PC with a Pentium 2 in it, and most of the time it'll have all its software on it, the Windows, everything. Because it's a domestic, you know, from a house, it should most likely will just have everything on there. So this is what I love most, scrapping out PCs. It's just, I find it therapeutic, you know. Same as with the old floppies. Like in this particular case, we've got the floppy with the casing over it and the front cover. Sometimes these are good to keep just as spare floppies for repairing other vintage PCs. You know, so I'll keep this just as it is because it's got this nice casing and front cover. I might repair, you know, I might need to repair another Compaq that I've got, and it might actually fit in. Obviously we don't worry about the Compaq disc players, we just scrap this out. Alright. Well, that was that. Pretty straightforward, that one. Again, I'll use this cavity as throwing scrap metal, all that kind of stuff in there, all the rubbish. When it fills up, I put the cover back on. and we send it off to the scrapyard. Still got to scrap this out. So there's our motherboard. We can send that in with motherboards for gold recovery. An old power supply unit you might want to test out. I got a lot, I don't need it. I'll just sell that as a power supply. I'll keep that, I'll scrap that. Some ribbon wire. We already established that the pins are pretty good gold, so I'll take all them plugs off. Good hard drive, worth keeping in case you need to rebuild another PC and you need an old hard drive. This one will have most likely Pentium 2, Windows 95 or something like that already installed. Nice and easy for you. Some aluminium, our beautiful slot CPU, gold recovery, couple of RAM sticks, more gold recovery, and our 3 slot cards. So this one here might be worth selling. Maybe the video card as well. This one, it's only a network card, not really important, but the video card might be good, same as this one here. It's up to you, just depends on how much you want to get into the components. Some people just scrap them all out completely and go for the gold recovery, and a lot of times that's what I do. Alright, well that was the Compaq Despero. Well, that's 3 items that I've done. I don't want to make this video too long, so I think that was a good little scrap for a video for today. And I've still got a lot of work to do, but it's just going to be basic stuff. Some DVD players and stuff like that. It's probably some DVRs that I've got, and cutting a lot of cords. Going to just got to clean up the plugs, all that kind of stuff, you know, off the insulated wire. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing for the rest of the day. It's starting to get later on in the afternoon, so I'll probably go on for another hour and then call it a day. Just scrap, clean up that wire. So yeah, so I hope you had a little bit of fun watching me scrapping stuff out, and hopefully you've got a lot of your own scrap to get out there and scrap out yourself. And you know, this is just a bonus PC, one of the many PCs that I pick up off street scrapping videos that I make. Just pick them up off the street, you know. Excellent score, it's got one of everything. 3 slot cards, which is a really good bonus for gold recovery, because as you can see, all 3 of those gold fingers are a good quality, high quality gold plating. So we get good gold recovery off them if we don't sell the actual boards. Even from the ribbon wire, beautiful Pentium 2 slot CPU, a couple of old RAM even. So there's good value there, just picking it up off the street. Alright guys, keep scrapping, have fun, and I'll catch you next time.